Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Jashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Jashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari.
Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Oh,
Does that help?
I saw the light, Lord, I saw the light.
is there a letter after the P on the third word in the? Is it PRC? An I?
What's the third word starts with a P? Is it Pichar on?
Yeah. Pichata.
Pichita. Okay,
It is.
it's an I.
Krishna is the lover of Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He is the lover of the cowherd maidens of Raj, the holder of the great hill named Govardhan, the beloved son of Mother Jasoda, and the delighter of the inhabitants of Raj. He wanders in the forest along the banks of the river Jamuna. Narayanam namaskritya
Narayanam namaskritya
Naram chaiva narottamam
Naram chaiva narottamam
Devim sarasvatim vyasam
Devim sarasvatim vyasam
Tato jayam udirayat
Tato jayam udirayat
Shunvatam swakata Krishna
Shrinvata swakata Krishna
Punya shravana kirtanaha
Punya Sravana Kirtanaha
Vidyantaha stoya bhadrani
Vidyantayato Abhadrani
Vidunoti saritsatam
Vidunati Suritratam
Nasta Pareshu Bhadreshu
Nashtapareshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavat Utama Shloke
Bhagavati Tamashloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
Reading from Srimad Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 5th chapter, text number 8. Please repeat. Etan
Etan
me priyat prichataha
Pichata
prichataha
Pichata
sarvam
Sarvam.
Etan me prichataha sarvam
Etan me Pichata Sarvam.
Etan me prichataha sarvam
Etan me Pichata Sarvam.
Sarvagyan Shakaleshvara
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara.
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara.
Vijnanihi Yatai Vedam
Vijnaniti Yatai Vedam.
I'm sorry. Vijnanihi
Vijnanahi
Vijnanihi
Vijnanahi
Yatai Vedam
Yatai Vedam.
Yatai Vedam
Yatai Vedam.
Aham Bhuje
Mujhe
Nushasitaha
Nushasitaha.
Aham Bhuye Nushasitaha
Aham Mujhe Nushasitaha.
Aham Bhuye Nushasitaha
Aham Mujhe Nushasitaha.
Etan me prichataha sarvam
Etan me Pichata Sarvam.
Sarvagya Shakaleshvara
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara.
Vijnanihi Yatai Vedam
Vijnaniti Yatai Vedam.
Aham Bhuje Nushasitaha
Aham Mujhe Nushasitaha.
Etan me prichataha sarvam
Etan me Pichata Sarvam.
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara.
Vijnanihi Yatai Vedam
Vijnaniti Yatai Vedam.
Aham Bhuje Nushasitaha
Aham Mujhe Nushasitaha. Etan me Pichata Sarvam.
Etan me Pichatasaram.
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara.
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara.
Gyanjanti Yate Vedam.
Vijnaniti Yatai Vedam.
Aham Bhuje Nusasitam.
Aham Bhuje Nusasitam.
Etan me prichata sarvam
Etan me Pichata Sarvam.
sarvagya sakaleshvara
Sarvagya Sakaleshvara.
vijanihi yathai vedam
Vijnaniti Yatai Vedam.
aham buddhenu shashitaha.
Aham Bhuje Nusasitam.
इदं मे पृच्छता सर्वं सर्वगा सकलेश्वर विजानीहि अथैवेदम् अहं बुद्धेन शासितः.
Please repeat. Etat,
Etat,
all those, may, unto me. Pichataha, inquisitive. Sarvam, all that is inquired. Sarvagya, one who knows everything. Sakala, overall. Ishvara, the controller. Vijanihi, kindly explain. Yata, as. Eva, they are. Idam, this. Aham, myself. Budye, can understand. Anushasitaha, just learning from you. Please repeat. Translation. My dear Father, you know everything, and you are the controller of all. Therefore, may all that I have inquired from you be kindly instructed to me, so that I may be able to understand it as your student. Translation. My dear Father, you know everything, and you are the controller of all. Therefore, may all that I have inquired from you be kindly instructed to me, so that I may be able to understand it as your student. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Purport. The inquiries made by Narada Muni are very important for everyone concerned. And as such, Narada requested Brahmaji to deem them suitable, so that all others who may come in the line of the Siddhic succession of the Brahma Sampradaya may also know them properly without any difficulty. Translation. My dear Father, you know everything, and you are the controller of all. Therefore, may all that I have inquired from you be kindly instructed to me, so that I may be able to understand it as your student. I'm so used to just the microphone. But that's what's important, humility. And Prabhupada says that's what this movement is all about. Surrender. It's not a secret to devotees. We pray to be able to surrender to the instructions of our Guru Dev, the instructions of Shastra. And when we read Prabhupada's books, that's Prabhupada. He's speaking to all of us. And if we stay in this mood, and Narada Muni's in, with Lord Brahmaji, then the proper transmission of knowledge will come to us without impediments. Impediments are what we put up above, what we put in the way. And our mind can be controlled. We're not striving for ananda or bliss and all these things. We just want to please Krishna. The devotee just wants to please Krishna. And how do we do that? We please our spiritual master. And if Prabhupada is pleased, then we know that Krishna is pleased. And how do we know even these words I'm saying? It's only the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. You know, he's taught us all of this. How do I know any of this? It's the blessings of my Guru Dev. Who am I? No, I'm tiny. 1/10,000th the size of portions of the hair. Just like in martial arts, you can get the blessings of your martial arts guru if you're humble. But any little sense of, oh, I'm special. Well, martial arts guru, he knows. But what to speak of the spiritual guru, you know. He's very well aware of where everyone's at. That's why whenever Prabhupada was in the room and you came in the room, everybody, and he's giving a class too, everyone felt that he was giving that class to you. Everyone felt that way. Oh, he's speaking to me. But everyone in the room felt that way. And that's called blessings. How did Prabhupada have those blessings? From his Gurudev. His Gurudev is just giving all of his blessings to his pure disciple. And therefore, all we can do is, we know we're not pure, but we can pray. We can somehow get close to that, condition. And we pray that we can be just like Srila Prabhupada, well, he can't be just like Srila Prabhupada, a pure transmission. Just don't let there be impediments. Prabhupada wants us to be pure. So my mind's telling me, yeah, but. No, that's just my material mind. I'm a pure spirit soul, and I'm not this gross body, and I'm not this subtle body. I have to tolerate these things, but I can use this blessing, I'm in a human form of life, to make spiritual advancement. And if we cooperate with this spiritual master, we're out in the middle of the ocean, we're drowning in the material world. And I don't know if you know what it's like to be out in the vast ocean, but for miles and miles and miles you see nothing, So if your boat went down, then say you don't have any flotation device or anything. You're just in the middle of the ocean. Well, you're going to drown. The waves are like this. Sharks are circling. So, and then the spiritual master comes in a boat, just out of nowhere. And then he throws us a lifeline, that ring. And we can put one finger on it, it'll be ripped away. That shows very little effort on our part. Put our hand on it, okay, we've got a better chance. But if we get up in the ring and hold on for dear life, we're fully committed. Then cooperate with the Gurudev, pulling us back to the boat, and cooperate with getting in that boat, transcendental knowledge and his full blessings. Then we can get back to spiritual shore by his grace. As long as we don't leave the leg hanging up over the edge, then we'll just drag in a circle like that. We're impeding the efforts that the captain of that boat is making to get us back to safety. If we fully cooperate every step, then we can be rescued from this horrible material world. But that's not our goal. We're Vaishnavas, so we're well-wisher to all living entities. And we can never call ourselves a Vaishnava. I can call myself a servant. I can call all of you Vaishnavas. The Prabhupada says that we should refer to ourselves as servants. We should always be striving to be a Vaishnava. And when you're out there preaching, you tell people what Vaishnava means. That you know us, and everybody knows us, Hare Krishna. But we're actually Vaishnavas. That's technically what we're called. It's another level, another level you can expose them to. And that means well-wisher to all living entities. Isn't that beautiful, Of course they agree, wow, that sounds nice, Especially in the age that we're living in now, when you don't know who you can trust. There are so many anxieties. Actually, I was told, this is coming from NPR, that the American Mental Health Association says that 8 out of 10 Americans have mental, problems. There's mental problems. Prabhupada said that. Yeah. And Elon Musk says that the biggest threat to the future is for people does anyone want to take a guess? This is just throwing it out there.
Elon Musk.
That's a good one, Prabhu.
What did it say?
He said Elon Musk.
Oh.
What's the greatest threat to the future?
War?
He said Elon Musk. I said, what's the greatest threat? What did Elon Musk say which is the greatest threat to the future? Dr. Angela said Elon Musk, right? But actually, he said AI.
What?
Artificial intelligence. And basically that's what we've got anyway in the mature world. Artificial intelligence. Not really real pure intelligence, really. It's all artificial, you know. Seriously. But the greatest threat, according to Elon Musk, is he says we have a window right now for space exploration. And I grew up with that terminology. I grew up in the space program. So we have, you know, I understand that there's windows. We have a window to launch, okay? But we also have a window to launch Krishna consciousness. And this is Kali Yuga. And Prabhu says that, you know, it's a very horrible age, but it's wonderful because everyone's Jagai Madai. So we have a chance to give them Lord Chaitanya's blessing, you know. And that, we don't strive for Ananda bliss, but we get it automatically anyway, you know. And we already know that. I'm speaking to the choir here, preaching to the choir. You all already know that. But Prabhupada also said that when you're doing your prayers, the things you're doing, say them loud enough everyone can hear. And then if they ask, you know, if they inquire, what are you doing? Then he has a chance to share Bhakti Yoga with the public, you know, which is, we're a sharing organization. That's what we do. So, it's a very short, hugely short purport. I was going to go over into the next text 9, with y'all's permission, because it touches on something that's very dear to all of us. You don't have to repeat, I'll just read Sanskrit real quick. Brahmo vacha samyak karuni kashyantam vatsate vikshik isi kich sitam yadaham koditaha samya bhagavad virya darshane. Translation. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy, Narada, being immersible to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ramaji, being so questioned by Naradaji, congratulated him, for it is usual for the devotees to become very enthusiastic whenever they are questioned concerning the Almighty Personality of Godhead. That is the sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. Such discourses on the transcendental activities of the Lord purify the atmosphere in which such discussions are held, and the devotees thus become enlivened while answering such questions. It is purifying both for the questioners and for one who answers the questions. The pure devotees are not only satisfied by knowing everything about the Lord, but are also eager to broadcast the information to others, for they want to see that the glories of the Lord are known to everyone. Thus the devotee feels satisfied when such an opportunity is offered to him. This is the basic principle of missionary activities. Just like when we started class, the devotees were discussing Harinam. You know, how do we go out and, you know, reach the folks? We love doing that. We live for that. So translation again. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead. So you see, actually in the first verse, Naradaji is glorifying Lord Brahma. My dear Father, you know everything, and you are the controller of all. Therefore, may all that I have inquired from you be kindly instructed to me, so that I may be able to understand it as your student. Very humble attitude. And then Lord Brahma says, in a very beautiful and humble way, but yet also glorifying Narada, he says, "My dear boy, be merciful to all, including me. You have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead." So he's even saying that it has nothing to do with me. It's only because I'm in contact with the Krishna, Supreme Lord, that anything I say is being attractive to you. It has any potency. And it's beautiful to see how Naradaji in the first text 8, how he was looking out for the parampara. That's always wonderful. Devotees want to preserve and not change one word of what our Gurudev said and what Prabhupada has put in the books. We don't want to change one word. We don't want to change not even one word. Even though we're tempted to, our mind says, hey, what about me? Hey, over here. Come on, false ego is like that too, false ego, it's like a madman jumping in front between the deities. Hey, whoa, what about me? That's just, if nobody pays any attention to a madman like that. Well, that's the false ego, so we're not at all attracted to that. So I just wanted to read from Bhagavad Gita, 4 really important verses. This is from text 10, chapter 10, text 8. Krishna says, "I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. Wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service, worship me with all their hearts. Aham sarvasya prabhava mataha sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanti." And then the next verse, Machita madgata prana buddha yantaha parash param kata yantascha mad nityam tishanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me. And that's the primary verse that I wanted to connect with this verse, the class today. That the devotees are inspired and enlightened. So the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me. Yesterday evening, I don't know what Fayette would do if I weren't around, because he doesn't chant, and I have to get him to try to read, I have to read to him. And yesterday evening it just came to a head, and I just said, Fayette, you're supposed to be a good association for me, and I'm supposed to be a good association for you, But see, he has to be trained in these things. You know what I mean? It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, He's a very, very sincere person, and he loves to preach. But I also have to warn him, do not change one word of what Prabhupada says, I'm constantly trying to train him, But this is the verse I read to him. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me. I said, yeah, you're worried about all the world's, how you can't trust anybody in the government or anywhere anymore. And that everything is so different. That's what he's upset about. Everything's so different now than what it used to be, when you could trust people. And there's just unrest everywhere around the world, He's upset about these things, but we have to focus on Krishna. We have to focus on Krishna consciousness. Then automatically everything comes. Prabhu says in the purport, pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna. They take pleasure in discussing him with other devotees. The next verse, because these 4 verses are very important. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajta vriti purvakam nami buddhi yogam tam yena mambhupayoti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Prabhu says that the problem with so many Indians is that, and this is interesting because I didn't remember him saying this before. He said, the problem is familiarity breeds contempt. Well, we know that, but he was talking about Indians when they come to America. When we meet them, they say, "Oh, Vasudev, oh, we know Vasudev." You know, and you can't really help them, you know, because the Prabhupada says the reason is familiarity breeds contempt. We grew up with Vasudev, you know, so that's disappointing. But just like when we read this verse here, to those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So we can help them to have a deeper understanding of Krishna. Because the reason is because Prabhupada is a pure devotee of the Lord. He's sharing his blessings with everyone. So if you can take advantage of somebody who is getting those blessings, because we're like a sponge, Vaishnavas. I mean, we want that mercy. And we relish sacrifice. We relish surrendering. These are things that we actually relish. And Krishna says, right in Bhagavad Gita, to those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Prabhupada said, even if you can't follow completely the instructions of your Gurudev, if your heart is sincere, you can still make spiritual progress, but it's just so much easier to hold on tightly to Gurudev's lotus feet, follow strictly all of his instructions. The Prabhupada says, a gentleman will always keep his promises. A gentleman. And then the last verse, out of compassion for Tesham eva nu kampartam aham agyana jam tamaha naso yam yatma bhavasto yana dipina basmata. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy it with the shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. And again, that's part of the humility, knowing that we were born into ignorance. And reading this, it gives us hope. It breathes life into our lives. Out of compassion for them, that means he loves us. I, dwelling in their hearts. And he's right here, this close. Destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. How can one not be enlightened and inspired, no matter what religion one belongs to, by reading Bhagavad Gita that's been translated by a pure devotee, you know? So the text 9 again, Lord Brahma said, My dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead. Prabhu says, if you are surrendered to Krishna, Maya cannot affect you. Maya is situated behind Krishna. She has no power. The whole world is filled with crazy madmen who are mad for sense gratification. If you fall down from the boat into the water, you may be a very good swimmer, but it is just struggle for existence. Everyone here is condemned to death. Who can say that they are not condemned to death? Quote, as sure as death, no one can deny. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was telling me a lot of things he's been through in his life. A really big gentleman. And he lost all his toes due to diabetes, you know. He looks really healthy. And he was telling me all these things, you know. And he was sharing a little bit of spiritual stuff. I shared a little bit of spiritual, just feeling it out. And I mentioned that one of the things we do is we don't eat meat. And he says, oh, I have to have my meat, you know. If my wife says if I go 3 days, please forgive me, lunches. But he says if I go with like 3 days, my wife says I get real irritable. And then of course next time I meet him, I'll explain to him why he gets irritable. One thing that even the doctors talk about, but I won't get into it in front of the D's. But I wanted to tell him you've been force fed from birth. You know, this food stuff you're talking about. You didn't have a choice. So now your body's totally conditioned to it. And we can actually help you get away from that. But they have a desire to get away from that. They're complete 100% servant of their tongue. You know, fully dedicated. A good servant, good disciple of their tongue. Prabhu says, why, my dear son, are you suffering in this way? Why don't you come back home? And the answer is, no, sir, I want to enjoy. But what is that enjoyment? Birth, disease, old age, and death. People say that we're negative. Maybe they say that's kind of negative, isn't it? No, this is just reality. No one's ever shared real knowledge with you. So we're giving real knowledge, and we're your friend. So a real friend will be honest with you about what's really going on. Otherwise, how will anything get better? We don't just focus on negative, we talk about it, but we focus on the positive. The divine positive, the transcendental positive, Krishna. Prabhu says, your so-called good or bad has no value. Simply surrender unto me, that has value. Otherwise, you simply concoct. Even first-class prison house is still prison. First class, second class, third class is all variety. Actually, in the material world, it is all third class. Prabhu says, either you live in the material energy or you live in the spiritual energy. They go to college and simply foolishly waste their lives, foolishly waste their time. They learn to make money to simply improve their quality of eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. Anybody want to make any comments at this time? Yes, Manji?
Yeah, I've been, we go to this gym, and I feel like I'm glad that I'm going not only for my health, but I get a chance to meet these really, actually quite nice people. They're getting to know us. I've given a book because the lady that works there, young lady, she's pregnant, and I, invited her to the cow festival. She said, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't come, and different things came up, and I really want to. And she said, I was just watching probably something on Facebook that showed an animal really being tortured, and it didn't matter what the animal. I knew what she was talking about, and I said, yeah, I can't watch those, but I think it's good to have those because people get shocked out of their head. And she's like, I don't want to eat meat anymore after seeing that. She said, I don't want to cause these animals to suffer. And I gave her a cookbook, and she really wants to stop eating all meat. So I do feel like if there's more exposure out there, like, we might think, oh, Prabhupada didn't want us to get so graphic with sharing these things, but on the other hand, people that have never seen it or don't have a clue, when they see that, it really can change them. Just like, I'm not sure who, but one of the famous scientists or authors said that if slaughterhouse had glass doors and windows, everyone would be vegetarian.
Yeah.
So not only, so I gave her a book, A Higher Taste, and not only that, just we get to know their suffering, and we are slowly helping them. Like, she knows I'm a Hare Krishna, and Mahalakshmi we listened to this story about another lady's daughter that's suffering. She's a teacher there, and it's hellish. And Mahalakshmi just happened to have, by Krishna's arrangement, a bottle of Immunex. And she was like, yeah, hit it with this. And so these people we're already sharing, these people are depending on us and really like us as people. And I'm thinking, if I would just go about my life and not take a step into something like that, to go in this new world of people I don't know, I wouldn't be helping people as much. So I feel that it's a twofold thing. Once you're out there, you can help people, and they do take shelter slowly.
Yeah.
So
It's so amazing what you're saying, Mataji. Is it the new health club that just opened?
no, so it's the one you used to go to.
Oh, in time.
Yeah.
So is she also a member there too?
It's the daughters, that's the owner's
Mahalakshmi
daughter,
and
right?
we go.
Yeah.
And I heard Bhishma goes, and I saw Deva Bhuti there, trying it out. I don't know if she's.
I heard the new one that's just opening up now is like $3 a week open
Yeah, but
introductory.
it's overcrowded.
It's $10.
It's overcrowded though,
It's
yeah.
overcrowded, and
And
this
they
other
use
place is
finger-
like your personal place. There's like 5 people in there whenever I go.
Yeah.
So it's more personal.
Yeah. Yeah, the amazing thing is that it always shocks me nowadays compared to what it used to be in the old days. Everybody you talk to, as long as you're sensitive, and it's pretty obvious. So this gentleman, I'm getting a vibe that he might be a heavy-duty Christian, which if he's a real Christian, fine, because he'll love everything we're about,
Yeah, like another friend of mine, we used to get insurance from them. I saw she's at the gym, and she and her best friend are there every time we go. And so we talk sometimes, and then I told them about the Cow Festival, and a friend of hers, who's gotten to be our friend, and she's like, oh, I didn't know. I thought you all were like, you hear rumors. I'm like, don't believe all that. And she said, you all believe in Jesus? And I said, yeah. Jesus is the Son of God. And she's like, oh. Like they were actually pleasantly surprised that Krishna consciousness isn't all the rumors they've heard.
Yeah.
It's
I tell them that Prabhupada said that our Guru Dev said that Jesus Christ is the best son.
Yeah.
They like to hear that.
They want to hear that.
Oh, Mataji, on Bourbon Street, when I used to distribute there, I remember there was 2 or 3 gentlemen, the young guys that were, gathered around, and we're having a great time, we're talking about yoga or this or that, and, they were into it. And then that guy that does the holy thing was coming down the street, holy roller Christian thing, and they were making fun of the guy, hollering at him and everything. Here they are, with the devotee and just having a great time, and they're making fun of that other guy. I thought, what a dichotomy, Because that guy would just basically condemn you. You don't accept Jesus Christ, and you're going to hell, and that kind of stuff, carrying a sign. And they were just making fun of him, hollering at him, and everything like that. I thought, wow, this is amazing. That Prabhupada's so merciful. He's showing us how to preach. And what we're offering is what they really want, actually.
I don't remember ever seeing or hearing where, because I never heard Prabhupada really get graphic about slaughter, but I never heard that he said you shouldn't, mention, something about the slaughterhouses. He would even call the educational system as the slaughterhouse. I never heard that he said, no, you can't do this. And I've even heard, but
Yeah.
So many stories from people like Mataji's mentioning, and so many devotees even tell experiences like when they were a kid. There's one devotee I know that, I know it sounds absolutely absurd, but when he was in school, I don't know what grade, but they took him on a field trip. Like I went to the Ford plant to see how Fords were made, okay? And they took him to a slaughterhouse. And he ran around the back of the building and vomited. And at the time, he's living in his parents' it's confirmed. So, but he was determined to get out of it.
Yeah.
I can remember watching my father, because I lived right off the ocean there, and there was always canals and things like that. People would go fishing all the time, or clamming and things like that. I hated it. I hated the whole thing. It was disgusting. And watching my father, cut a fish, it just was awful.
Yeah,
I thought it was awful.
Those cute little eyes and everything.
And even before that, I had a repulsion to the smell of things like bacon and eggs and all their foods, pretty much, except for a few of those basic. But I had a natural. But then when you see those things, but the other thing is that when you were saying about, isn't this a negative way of preaching about birth, death, disease, and old age? But it's always so interesting. Like people will say, they act like, well, we never thought that somebody like that would be so sick, or they never thought this would happen. They're like so shocked that, they've got cancer, or that this bad thing happened right next door to me. This person, what do you mean? The whole world, you're surrounded, like Yudhisthira Maharaj said, the most amazing thing is that you see everyone dying, everyone, all your friends, all your families, everything, everyone. And yet, you never think, that's going to happen to me.
Yeah, even myself, I catch myself thinking about, forgetting, wow, I have to die one day. I try my best, health clubs and everything, take care of myself and all that. Wait a minute. But I just said, I have to die. I think I'm the body, see? It's constantly a meditation that we have to be 24 hours a day thinking about Krishna. Well, you don't lose anything because we're actually blissful if we can think of, in any way we can think about Krishna, whatever Shastra or verse we might be wanting to go over, chant the mantra in our mind through our daily lives, just remember little baby Damodar, how beautiful the deities are. What color were they? That's one thing I like to test myself. What color were they dressed in today? Can't remember the color? I can't remember the color? Not even the color? I mean, what to speak of what the design was like, that might be harder, but can't I remember what color they were dressed in, just a way to trick myself into remembering the deities and Krishna, And,
for me, one thing is I don't mean to interrupt, but I of course I love looking at Radha and Golnikai, but Jagannath's eyes, I have a hard time forgetting Jagannath, because I look at them and I'm totally, I just would like to stay there and drink it in. But if I just, that Darshan, the Darshan book came with a DVD, they took pictures of all the deities in the world, all the different temples. When you look at the DVD of the Jagannath deities, for the next 24 hours, I close my eyes, I just see Jagannath's eyes.
Wow.
I mean, that's just for me personally. I'm just throwing that out. If you want to,
that's great. No, that's great because we
think about it.
If we can follow in your footsteps.
It's easy to remember those eyes of Jagannath. Those big, beautiful eyes.
It's so nice. We should never think that devotees don't want to hear our realizations. You know what I mean? Like who am I to share anything? But you never know what it means, even to a devotee. What to speak of the karmis out there? They're living in a wasteland. Just a dry wasteland.
And like Mataji again, what she was saying, I just heard this story about a devotee. He was speaking Bhaktivinoda Man, he was Irish, and he said that one day this other devotee, who's known to all of them, he was one of the first devotees in Ireland, and he went out one day and took a bus to Belfast. And on that day, No one was in the street. I guess it was a Sunday or something. The streets were completely empty. And he walked down one street, and he walked down another. Then he knocked on a door randomly and talked to somebody, and then was able to do one book. And when he came back, he was thinking, I guess I wasted that day. I was a complete failure. It turns out that the person he sold the book to became one of the most important, I don't remember the person's name, but everybody there knew. And he was he's been one of the most influential devotees in the Bhaktivedanta manner. That this Irish devotee distributed a book to one day, only one book, thinking that was a wasted day. I really, I could have done more for Krishna. But he actually, that one soul, that one interaction became a really, first of all, it saved him, but he also, that person then became a very influential and important servant at the Bhaktivedanta manner. And I was thinking about it when she said, even these little conversations like that, and the way you're always talking about how you start these conversations, you never know how it's going to evolve. You just planted a seed, and the seed's going to grow somewhere, even maybe not in this life, it's going to grow in the next life.
Yeah, and if they're carrying that little book with them, they're just carrying little baby Krishna. Do they go with baby Krishna? Get purified just holding the book, yes, Manji?
Go ahead.
Talking about whether we should preach vegetarianism, and I also have seen where Prabhupada said, we don't do that, we just preach Krishna consciousness and vegetarianism will come. However, I don't think he would be against, nowadays, there's a rising tide against meat eating. I mean, it's rising. So why should we not get on the bandwagon and encourage people, because that will increase the mode of peace and the receptivity. So why not? I think Prabhupada was working with the hippies, and he would not have messed with a bunch of wild crazy kids. But that was where the rising tide was.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're doing anything wrong by doing this, taking advantage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People out there, they want this Krishna consciousness. I mean, they don't know it, but if we find out where they're at and make it palatable to them, that's what a friend will do. If you really care about the person, we'll make it palatable to them. Not overwhelm them, not find fault with their lives. I could have told that guy, well, in the Bible says thou shalt not kill, so we're trying to be really good Christians, but that would have turned him off, because I just met him, basically speaking. It may say, well, yeah, I'm a Christian. How can you say thou shalt not kill means animals too? Yeah, animals have a soul. What are you talking about?
But people are worried about the Amazon burning. It's a big thing now.
Yeah.
Amazon burning, it's not the only place it's burning for cattle raising. It's not the only place. But people are becoming aware. What about the CO2? What about the methane? They're becoming aware, and they're starting to say that there's I think there's some country that's saying no meat eating or something like that.
What is Modi doing? I heard Modi's doing something.
This awareness is rising. Oh, Switzerland says no factory farms, something like that.
But also just even there, for some reason, and I remember Prabhupada though saying at one point in the 70s, he said there were three things that he attributed to the Lord Chaitanya's, to the Sankirtan movement. And one of them was a rise in interest in vegetarianism. But now they have that company, what's it called? Impossible Meats or Amazing Meats? And it's actually not meat, but it tastes like meat.
Right.
And it's not a soy thing. It's
and
actually...
their stock is
What
soaring.
is it actually made of?
The stock is soaring.
I don't know exactly, but they
It's some
say
kind of bean proteins.
Yeah, bean proteins. And that's the point. We've been saying this for years. They've been saying, well, you need to eat meat because of the protein. But we've been saying, no, the protein is coming from the beans they eat. The grains that they eat. Feed them. And overfeed them. And so now, actually in Burger King and one of the other main chains, that's what they're selling.
Yeah, that's true. They're coming back, I heard, with another version. But I want to tell you one thing. I'm sorry?
It's in Picayune, bro.
Yeah. There's also this medical journal that was written by doctors. It was in the doctor's office. I told you about this before. I was with Jazz Sena and I saw it in the office. Picked it up and I was reading it. And they were advocating vegetarianism because it said on 2 pages, I think. It was saying that I think it even showed it, the chemical compound, the molecular structure they say it's almost identical to caffeine, decomposing flesh in your system. It's almost identical.
Yeah, that's
To
what they're
caffeine.
saying. That's their selling point.
So,
Yeah.
but no, they were saying it's not healthy to eat meat. So that's what the doctors are saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's amazing. So they said because you've been eating, you're getting that chemical boost from birth. Your body, the chemicals are leaching into your nervous system. You're getting a boost, like caffeine-like boost. So you think you need to eat meat, but actually it's just a caffeine-like effect because of the chemical structure.
Yeah, it's true though, the Prabhupada did say, we're not interested because birds, there's so many animals that are vegetarians, and that doesn't make them Krishna conscious.
Right,
The
exactly.
point is to offer, but
Yeah.
it is offer our foods. But the fact that it makes people more pious
Yeah.
if they're not involved in the eating the flesh of animals and participating in the murder of animals, then that doesn't. And as they say in New York, it couldn't hurt.
It could hoit.
Couldn't hurt.
Good point. Well, okay, well, all glories to all the single Vaishnavas, Shishi Garnitai, Shishi Radhakanta,
Yeah.
Joseph Maharaj, Ki Jai.
Amen.